How's everyone doing
Indeed.
today? You're here with Solember and Coders178.
Hello.
Today, as the title said, we're going to be talking about caffeine and weed, the American combination. I'm going to test my knowledge against your knowledge today. So I guess we should just jump right into this one.
Let us do that.
When I say caffeine, what comes to mind first?
A nice good old cup of Joe, as I am drinking right now. What about you? What do you think of when you think of caffeine?
Aliens, conspiracy theories. No, I'm just kidding. I think of American industry. Mostly, I think of people in fields collecting caffeine and how much the British hate us for loving coffee.
I just thought of those cats that poop out coffee beans. Apparently, that coffee's really good. I don't know what jogged that in my head, but
Yeah, I think there's
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 that.
like wolves or foxes that do that too. I haven't heard about the cats, but I've heard about the.
Isn't that a weird part of our we drink coffee that animals pooped out because we think it adds flavor, and yet.
It does add flavor. I mean, that
But then
we don't think it does. We are 100% aware that it adds flavor.
So you can drink butt coffee, but asparagus is nasty. That's our thinking here.
I like asparagus, but I don't like coffee.
Oh,
But I'm sitting here drinking an energy drink, a Venom energy drink by the Dr. Pepper Company.
oh. We still like caffeine, but
It's like I know I'm not
here's
on
the problem.
camera. No, I just like how it tastes. I really do. I hate
Yeah,
caffeine. Caffeine gives me headaches, but like it tastes so good.
I do like how you said that it gives you headaches. Well, for me, if I don't drink caffeine at this point, it will cause headaches. What we call that a dependency, right?
Well, possibly, yeah. So we're gonna jump into this then. Why are drugs? Why are some drugs illegal, but coffee is not? It's a very simple question.
hmm
I'm gonna see why the chat widget's not starting while we talk about this. It does this every day.
Yeah. Here, I'm gonna bring up the stream on my computer as well, so I can monitor things.
Thank you. Yeah, I just clicked over to the monitoring channel. I'm like, oh wait, it's not started yet. There we go. It worked. Easy
Okay, good.
fix. But yeah, we're going still. So not to lose that momentum there. Um, what is an addiction? Like,
Well,
what makes
that would
something
be.
classified as an addiction?
Well, I think there's a couple ways you can go. You could go on the one's dependency for an item, like I said about getting a headache from drinking coffee. But then there's also things like marijuana where you may not get a dependency from it, but there's a mental stipulation behind smoking weed every day or not being able to stop smoking weed. So it is an addiction, but
Well,
how do
I'm
we
not talking about
categorize?
anything specifically. Let's not talk
Yeah,
about
yeah.
coffee or marijuana quite yet. Let's just define the criteria for drugs in general and why they may or may not become made illegal. Or rather, what we're told. I
hmm
tapped my head there for a second. You can't see that, but I just tapped the side of my head. What we're told is the reason why certain drugs are illegal. Um, so addiction, by just definition, the medical definition, it's the psychological and or the physical inability to stop consuming a chemical, drug, activity, or substance, even though it's causing psychological and physical harm. Right? Can we agree on that
hmm
definition? That it's just
Indeed,
okay.
indeed.
So it's the brain and body telling you you need the object. You need it. Right?
Mm.
Um. So that's criteria point one. Right? So we have now defined addiction. Um, the other reason that a drug might be considered for being made illegal is that it's expensive, a very high cost if you're addicted to it. You'll spend your money on it, and you are then being victimized by the people who produce and sell that.
Okay.
Okay, so then we have to go on to what is victimization. So how do we
Do you have a
define
nice definition for us?
What's up?
Do you have the nice clean definition for us so we can get a
Well,
nice standing on it?
Well, victimization is intentionally, is intentionally targeting someone, to harm or manipulate them, would be my, legal definition. But, of course, there's a broad category for it. Victim doesn't have to feel like a victim. It could be someone who feels like they're gaining something from it, as well.
Okay.
I feel that's like to victimize someone is to commit a crime against someone. It's a legal term. So if it's already illegal to do it, then to victimize someone is to commit a crime against them. So, but that's where we have to separate it grammatically from legally. So to victimize someone is to take advantage of them. Do you have anything to add to that?
No, I think you got it pretty spot on there.
Let's move on. I mentioned a victim doesn't have to know they're a victim. If you have all the information about what you're doing, are you still a victim, or can you still be a victim when addiction is concerned?
I think you still can be,
Okay, that's good.
especially when it comes to some practices in the United States when it comes to deal with drugs.
We're coming back to that. Another reason that drugs are made illegal is because it is presumed that they lead to other worse drugs. We've all heard that, talk about marijuana specifically, that marijuana is a gateway drug.
Mm-hmm.
Which has been debunked and thrown out completely. As far as I can tell, by every every credible study that I could find. I have looked for studies that say that it is a gateway drug, and I can't find anything besides nonsense.
Well, from what I've seen also, if you're going to call marijuana a gateway drug, what about alcohol? I think alcohol is just as or worse of a gateway drug than marijuana.
Right. So there's examples of other things being gateway drugs. And again, we're going to come back to that. You keep jumping into the topic.
I just like to, keep things on the mind.
So I would say that despite the fact that they say that not everything that's illegal is a gateway drug, one thing I say is that they're dangerous, that the drugs are dangerous. So the question would be, are they dangerous? Like, is every drug that is illegal dangerous?
Mm-hmm.
And honestly, for this one, I would say yes, but no more than like, not in a way that would make someone want to clutch their pearls. Not every drug that that's on the list is inherently dangerous to reasonable degree.
Well,
because then you might as well ban power tools.
exactly. Everything's got its dangerous. If any foods you eat could be dangerous as well. They don't make those illegal.
Right. I mean, getting fat.
Mm-hmm. That's one of the biggest problems in America right now, up there with the drug problem.
I agree. Rufus is the biggest problem in America.
Shout out Rufus.
Rufus 11, R.I.P. Rip those jeans. Sorry.
Rip them good.
What is the threshold for safe danger then? Like, try to think. Like, when I say what is the most dangerous thing that you think should be unregulated and legal? Just a quick answer, just like knee jerk.
I don't think a lot of drugs should be
No, not
illegal.
drugs, just action. What's the most dangerous thing that a human should be able to do without a license or any government monitoring, without any restrictions?
Oh, that's a good one. That's a thinker.
I think operating power tools, going back to the example, is a good one. Climbing a ladder. Home repair. Although some home repair does require a contractor. But, again, every time that you get into licensing and stuff, you bring money into it. So.
Good old money.
Money. Capitalism! But yeah, I think operating, like in Texas, you can carry a bladed weapon without a license on your person in its sheath.
Yeah.
Just to do it. You can't bring it to like stadiums or high schools. Trust me, I tried. No, I didn't. But you can carry it with you, and you know, when you inevitably get stopped by the police officer who's not aware of that law, you can pull out your camera and make a scene and be like, "Look, I'm being victimized." When anyone with common sense would know that carrying a machete down the street would lead to being stopped by the police and at least questioned.
Yes.
I will say that not everyone who gets stopped by the police to be questioned is being done so by an unreasonable police officer. Obviously, common sense comes into play sometimes, and as long as that officer does proper reporting and such, and doesn't victimize you based on race, ethnicity, they're doing their job. Alternatively, if you're a black man and you get stopped by a police officer just for being black, that's bad. I'm just pointing out there, I'm not on the side of police, I'm not against police. I'm neutral. I'm against racism.
As we all are here.
Yeah, this is a very anti-racist channel. I think that's the one political thing that we don't care if you disagree with us on. Racism is bad.
Indeed,
But,
indeed.
So, but yeah, what would you say the threshold is for safe danger?
I kind of agree with you on there. I think people should be educated on things before they do. I think that's one of the main things. Teach people, like you said, like if you want to work with ladders and stuff, you should learn how a ladder operates and what the dangers of using that ladder are. You know what I mean? Yeah, that translates to anything.
Well, you're going the
Power
opposite
tools,
direction for me on that one. I think you should be able to climb up a ladder with common sense, and you shouldn't have to educate yourself on the use of. Well, I guess that was the last question on the list, so I guess we could jump into it. You should not have to educate yourself on marijuana if you just want to smoke marijuana and feel good. Like I think if it's safe and you take it in your own hands, and aren't risking other people in it, then it should be fine. There is no victim in smoking marijuana. Not even yourself. Nobody is victimized by marijuana usage.
I mean, the plant maybe a little.
Poor weed. Like, so going back here, so what is an addiction? We said it's, like we used the very specific terms when you have a psychological or physiological need to consume something or perform something. Now we're getting into the coffee, and we'll even say alcohol. Coffee and alcohol. Cigarettes. We'll pull those all together. Those are all legal. Cigarettes is a really good one here. That's more in the this is super addictive. Have to do it, making it a routine. It's even social to go out and smoke with people, or to go out and have coffee with friends, or to go to a bar and drink. Right? Those are cornerstones of the U.S. image, are they not?
They are for sure.
And I think I would say that there are more people who've probably been struck by lightning in the U.S. than there are people who don't know somebody or has ever met somebody who is addicted to one of those three substances.
Yeah, that's fair to say, I think.
It's the American image, and that's the I guess summary that I have for that. Whereas marijuana, comparable, would you say?
Yeah, I think it has less long-term damage as well compared to those three things. But that's iffy though. You know, you can toss up the marijuana does damage your lungs, but you can also eat it. So yeah, there's a ways around some of its bad flaws that it's looked at badly. But I think they're comparable. I don't see why if you can buy cigarettes at a gas station, I don't see why you couldn't buy marijuana from anyone. You know.
If I were guessing, man, I would say that about 90% of people who use cigarettes, and that's generous, are addicted to them.
Yeah, for sure.
According to the I forgot my sources. According to the drugabuse.gov, there's a report that says 30% of those who use marijuana have some degree of marijuana use disorder, and only the most extreme case of marijuana use disorder is addiction. So that means if 100 people use marijuana, 30% have a use disorder, which sounds like a made up it's some type of dependence on it, where you get a little bit of withdrawal when you stop taking it, and so then you have. But again, we get that with sugar. If you stop eating sugar, you go through the same symptoms: irritability, sometimes difficulty sleeping, loss of appetite, cravings for it.
Even my girlfriend just started a diet where she's not cutting out carbs completely, but doing like a low carb diet. She got really not sick, but she was going through withdrawal symptoms from that, and you can see it.
Yeah, I agree. It's very visible and obvious when you can see people going through it. But yeah, so back on this, so it's less than a third of marijuana users have a measurable degree of marijuana use disorder, and not even all of those are addiction. Compared to cigarettes, alcohol, coffee. I'd say that at least 50% of people who drink, at least 50%, my guess. This is not based on a study. I do not have this data, so please don't quote me as a source, folks. Full disclosure, this is a guess. I'm not Joe Rogan over here, or just throwing out data like it's truth. Hope I got that name right. But yeah, no, it's 50% people who drink coffee are full blown addicted to it. So that's just my interpretation.
Yeah.
And that's me lowballing it too. So I'm trying to be generous with that number.
Well, the thing is, most people who drink coffee every morning before work, and so I mean,
well, yeah.
Once you get in that routine, it's hard to get out of that routine, especially when something gives you something in the morning, a little extra push to wake up, and when you don't have that, you feel like you're not performing at your maximum potential then.
Exactly. And then we have I have to deal with the victimization thing here. So when things are made to seem normal or legal, you might not even realize that there's anything wrong with being addicted to the substance.
Mm-hmm.
So people who drink coffee every day, under the mask of normalcy, which is a psychological concept, when you're masked in society, you are more likely to do harmful activities that include stealing, robbing, etc. But on the legal aspect, going to a coffee shop and poisoning yourself. No, caffeine actually it does have health benefits. I will say that. We'll get to that later.
Well, I think a lot
soda
of these
and
things,
stuff, not so much.
right. Well, I think a lot of these things have their potential to be, if used correctly. That's the thing. If you don't abuse a lot of these products, they all have their purpose.
Yeah,
You know,
exactly.
even the harsher ones have their set time and place to use it. Set and setting, you know, like it's all about that.
And coffee is only like the whole recreation around coffee is profit. Like the only recreational activity you can do with coffee is go out and buy coffee with a friend. Like
Yeah.
with marijuana, recreation is inviting someone over to smoke some, and then doing another activity. People aren't going out like, hey, do you want to play some want to go drink some coffee and play some video games? Or hey, do you want to go like get some coffee and then take a jog? It's not a thing that people are doing.
Well, actually, I think the caffeine and video game one is a good one to talk about because of younger hands getting a hold of these substances and using very high amounts when it could not be good for their young bodies. What do you think about that? I don't want to name any products, but certain ones that are powders that are mixed into water and have concentrated amounts of caffeine.
Yeah, sugar, water, caffeine. That's what it is. I think caffeine is actually used to make people addicted to the soda, because we know what caffeine does. It's not a mystery that why it makes you feel good. So why are we allowing people to put this into products that are that kids can drink? These industries know what they're doing.
100%.
It's just it bothers me strongly that drinks that are being given to children, it's tasteless. It has no flavor.
Most of the flavors are nasty if they do.
Oh no, caffeine itself has no flavor.
Oh yeah, but I'm talking about these drinks themselves. They're not good.
Right. It's infuriating that even though caffeine itself doesn't bother anything, it's a central nervous system stimulant. You Pavlov your kids and then you get mad when your kid's like, I want a soda, and you say no. Like, these kids start screeching like pterodactyls. And then they pee their pants, and you can't hear it because, as with pterodactyls, the pee is silent.
Okay.
That was a stretch.
So
I liked it.
I felt the one viewer we just left because of that.
Like, kids not sleeping, kids underperforming. This is not okay. I only said that bad joke because I was getting actually enraged by this talk, so I had to distance myself from that. That was my own personal self-imposed aftercare. There are health benefits of these, but there are also, you don't want kids to have them. Just like I don't want to see an 8-year-old walking down the street smoking a joint, drinking a 40, stealing my girl, because that kid's cool as hell. I'm just saying.
We do not condone smoking or drinking to be cool.
Hey,
also,
that kid's parents got him a PS5. He's the cool kid. That kid's bike has a motor on it.
So would you rather? Oh no, I kind of lost my train of thought here. But I think it's okay to have caffeine even at a younger age, but they're packing 300 milligrams in one drink, and kids, they like to take things a little overboard. So if they're drinking multiple of these a day, that's going to lead to a generational heart issue. That's gonna, that's gonna keep getting worse and worse as the people get more dependent, and people are gonna, we start getting weak hearts, and it's gonna be bad for everyone.
I agree. And again, so we put these soda machines inside the schools, right?
Yeah, it's ridiculous.
I get it. It's an easy way for kids to get something to drink, right?
Mm-hmm.
Doesn't make it okay. I'm not talking about being fat or whatever, but I'm talking about getting addicted to something that did not need to have caffeine in it to begin with. Caffeine does not improve the drink at all. I would say that I would go on to say this. If your beverage would be consumed by a child, right? And you put caffeine in it, it should not be allowed to be put into a school. If you're like, it should not be allowed in a vending machine, anything like that. Like, you don't see people going around going, "Oh man, I need to get me some Sprite, man. I gotta get that fix." Like, Sprite isn't a social drink. Like, you see Dr. Pepper, people going, "Oh yeah, I love me some Dr. Pepper with my family," and Coca-Cola, Pepsi. You have like race wars with which is the better soda and stuff, and it's because of the caffeine. You associate it with part of your personality. I'm sorry, but like, you see people going, "I gotta have me a coffee every day," ha ha ha. Like, that's you're beginning to associate what you're drinking with your personality. Like, drinking coffee is not a personality trait. Just like it like, your favorite soda is not a personality trait. It's something you enjoy.
I do see a lot of Mountain Dew. That's
exactly.
People live by that shit, man. Like,
that's associated with gamers. Like, how does that happen? How do you get associated with a culture? I think caffeine has benefit when it's directly related to performance.
Yeah.
And that's great, right? But I don't think children should be out there getting addicted to things.
Give them a chance, at least. Yeah.
Yeah, I think it's irresponsible.
Give our children a chance out the gate. If they want to try things, they're going to. But let's not set them up, like, right away.
I'm not even going to lie. I would rather children smoke weed than drink caffeinated soda.
Yeah.
Because, then they have that money wall there. Like, I can't... an 8-year-old can't afford to buy a joint every week, But they can afford 2 or 3 sodas a day. That's reasonable. It's reasonable that a kid can get 3 sodas a day at school. That's, what, $150?
Ask your mom for...
$2.25?
Yeah, ask your mom for a couple bucks for school so you can get a snack.
Yeah. Even have your own little, like, odd job. Like, you could have an odd job as a child. You're not going to be going out buying marijuana with that money.
Yeah, exactly.
Like, it's just, unless that's the only thing you ever want ever. Like with soda, you can have soda and video games. What?
I think humans are just... we get addicted to things. We like routine. So I think that's just big into everything we do.
And, yeah, I agree. And soda's so cheap to produce and much overpriced. That's the other common trend here. Tobacco, alcohol, caffeine, cheap to produce, easy to regulate, and the government can regulate it.
I think marijuana is up there as well. I think you could put that now, especially it's starting to turn around.
That's my point, is, now all of a sudden the government's growing it, it's becoming legal.
Even as we were talking about yesterday, psilocybin is starting to become legal in places. Like, they're decriminalizing it, and it's like, it's weird to be a part of, but like, it's all happening.
Right.
But they know there's money to be made in that, so that's what it all comes down to.
Exactly.
Can we make money?
Let's look at the government like a business. I'm not saying the government itself is going out there and making drugs, but they are backing companies, and they're being lobbied by companies that are okay with this. Like big tobacco lobbies lobbies politicians. You don't think that if coffee was restricted, there wouldn't be huge backlash over it?
Oh, there for sure would.
Right. I think let's go down to the to numbers from the National Coffee Association. The economic impact. This is from their website. I put some data together. The economic impact of coffee in 2015 was $225.2 billion. The coffee makes up 1.6% of the United States gross domestic product. And that's huge. I know that 1.6% of anything doesn't sound like a big deal, but that's a pretty big number.
Well, if it's you're talking about one thing, you know what I mean? One item.
Yeah, considering the U.S. GDP is over 20.5 trillion. You know,
I'd like to see alcohol compared to that. I'm gonna look that up while you're talking.
Oh yeah, absolutely. Tobacco used to be much bigger. Vaping is. Oh man, Big Tobacco hates vaping. And I bet it's so funny how close the United States has danced to penalizing vaping, and you know that there's Big Tobacco behind that going, do it. But yeah, it's just a real pain in the butt.
See, I see here it says alcohol on society is substantially accounting for 0.45 to 5.44% of GDP.
Yeah.
So that's just number. That's just another thing to realize. Like that's 2%. Like they're both up there, you know.
Yeah, that's 1/3 of coffee, but that's because again, coffee is something you drink before work. You go out and get it and stuff like that. It's also something that we sell to other countries. Like I knew it was going to be low. We import more than we export on alcohol, I would assume. People aren't like buying much of United States alcohol in other countries. Is my guess. Like, if you're going to buy
Maybe
alcohol, go to Germany or I don't know. I'm not sure. I don't use alcohol, but I you hear how social it is in places like Ireland and things.
Yeah.
Going to the pub, it's a much bigger deal.
Well, in Germany, you can be like 16 when you can drink alcohol with your meal.
I'm gonna have to
maybe
trust
even
your,
younger.
I'm gonna have to trust your data because I don't know.
No,
Sounds right. And I
true.
remember there was I saw a statistic showing country age, and Germany was up there, but
I think they can be younger than 16 to drink a beer with their meal if they're with parents. Like you can be younger than 16. I'm pretty sure.
I know in the U.S. you can drink alcohol with parents under the legal age, but I don't remember. I think it's a state-to-state thing.
Yeah, it's not in PA for sure because you have to be 21. But if you're under 24, I believe, and someone is under 21, you can't drink with them at the table until you're 24.
Okay, that makes sense.
I guess because then I don't know, if you just turned 21 and your friends didn't yet, people like buying alcohol for them at the table.
Yeah. It's a smart law.
Yeah, it makes sense. I get it.
But why? Like why is it that day magically when you turn 21 you're now mature enough to drink alcohol?
Yeah, I think that's
why not 18?
Yeah, if you're 18 and you're old enough to do all these other things, like what is the difference?
It's I'm sure there's a professional out there who's like, okay, but like honestly, that's just them. Like, I mean, look at Prohibition. That didn't work out very well. So maybe that was someone meeting someone in the middle there, and they stretched it, and they had to find something to hold on to.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, so 21 used to be a pretty. You used to be pretty deep in your life at that point.
Right.
So maybe that was a deal back then. I'd have to look into that more. I would like to do a discussion on Prohibition on a later episode. So
that would be fun.
Oh yeah,
definitely.
But so coffee creates jobs inside and outside the country because we do import a lot of coffee. But every Starbucks worker, that's a job that coffee creates. Every other barista, that's a job that coffee creates. People whose their only job is running to pick up coffee for an employer, That is a job that coffee has created. It's I would say that if coffee is responsible for whatever percentage of food pickup app orders, it creates those jobs too. As demand increases and more jobs are made, then you obviously have these people fill in the blanks. But let's get down to just how much money it makes the United States, the country. The answer is $28 million. It makes $28 million for the United States. That's the answer. It's just not a mystery. So, what does that mean?
What does it?
Means the government's making money. Like if the United States GDP is $20.54 trillion, right? And 28 billion of that is coffee. That goes up to that 1.6% that we mentioned earlier. It means that if the U.S. made regulated caffeine, then their bottom line would be affected substantially.
Right.
But let's look at the flip side of that. If marijuana was made legal, growing it in your basement, all that stuff, was made legal, or rather decriminalized, then that number would still go down. The caffeine number would go down. Because more people would be like, well, I'm just going to... Like, weed is cheaper than coffee for a much better effect.
Especially if you can grow it yourself at your house. Then it becomes, you only have to buy it at that point. Just regulate it.
Yeah.
I have a couple statistics on marijuana because it takes up, I believe 2/3 of the states now, just about, have legalized marijuana in some way or decriminalized.
Yeah.
And it created, I think it was about 300,000 jobs in 2019, which, I think the more it can be regulated, the more jobs it will create eventually. You know what I mean? More growers, more people in dispensaries.
Right. I say that, you know what? If it's got better... I have seizures. I have brain damage. I would love to be able to legally smoke weed. And it's only $4 a joint. That is so much cheaper. The problem is you cannot get away from Big Pharma. And Big Pharma is another... It's
they will lose
an industry.
A lot. Yeah, they will lose a lot from marijuana. And marijuana, like you said, is cheaper.
Yeah.
Not saying it can cure a lot of these things, but it suppresses the effects of a lot of like you said, seizures and brain injuries. I just don't see, like, I feel like if you know that it has that kind of effect, like, how can you ignore that as a doctor? Who cares about their patients,
Right. I take it personally because I do sit here and I think I live in Texas. I hate having seizures. I can feel when I'm on the onset of a seizure. I know when I'm at risk, right? I want to function normally, and I know how I could function normally, right? And I just bang my head on the wall, knowing that that is what's standing in the way of me and my health is money. I'm worth more than that,
Right.
I'm just... It's upsetting. Like, very upsetting.
It's upsetting when they put money on a human life. They put value to someone's existence. And that's always one thing I thought that we'd should try.
Well,
to
saying that,
avoid.
it's when they try to drain the money from the humans too. That's the caffeine on kids. Do you know why that's legal? It's because that's dollar signs.
Oh yeah.
That's what it is. Like, yes, these companies lobby, but also these companies have to pay taxes. Every soda is what, 8 cents in the pocket of the U.S. government. Like, it's nuts.
Yeah.
Let me just do some math on this.
Go right ahead.
Gotta get the number. How many soft drinks are consumed a day? in the United States. Looks like no one has just a raw number there when I ask that. So I'll just leave it be for now. But yeah, every person drinking a soda in the United States is putting 8 cents in the pocket of the U.S. I'd say 1 in 4 Americans drink a soda a day or more. Would you?
Yeah, I mean, most people I know have their favorite soda. You know, you just grab when we're going. If you're going out to go do something, like everyone goes and grabs a soda or water. I'd actually, don't discredit those people who drink water. If you can do that every day, salute to that. I wish I could drink more water. That's the thing is, like, you can drink water like instead of soda a lot of the time, and it's like it's better. I've noticed. I've kind of been trying to get myself on a water kick, and once you get on it, I think you realize how much better water is. You can feel the difference. It's like cleansing almost,
Yeah. Definitely.
I say that as I take a big gulp of coffee.
But yeah, so I just did the math. 1/4 of the U.S. population is 82 million. Sorry, 82 million. So let's see. 8 cents times 82 million. 82 and 82 is 164. 164 is 328. 328, 656. So, like $6,560,000 a day. No, that's if it's 8 cents per drink going to the U.S., that's $6,560,000 a day.
That's a lot of money.
Yeah.
It's almost like drug dealing in a giant scale.
But yeah, that'd be like what, $2.4 billion a year.
That's ridiculous.
So that's again, everyone. That's based on the hypothetical that 1 in 4 people drink 1 soda a day that they pay $1 for, on average. Which that could be higher or lower. I'm just presenting that example. That seems realistic, for a lowball. So, but yeah, it's ridiculous.
I agree with you 100% on that. It's something else.
So what do we do about it
Mm.
as a country? I'm just gonna pull the trigger: legalize or systemize weed.
Oh yeah,
Make your
That's a
money,
given, I think.
but understand that doing so will cost jobs in some industries, create jobs in others. Like we have to educate ourselves on what would happen if weed were made legal and available today. What would that mean?
Mhm.
I think coffee shops would end up selling weed and coffee. Honestly,
Yeah,
that's a good complementary industry.
Sounds pretty chill, honestly. Grab a cup of coffee, smoke a joint, add a nice, comfy chair, get a nice croissant.
Like make people
It'd be
smoke
good.
outside, obviously, but
Yeah. Or
That's why it's-
designated rooms.
no, we can't backpedal. Honestly, we should not backpedal unless it's like unless it is a specifically a joint establishment, a smoking establishment.
I think that's how they would have it, though.
Yeah.
If
If you have those, it's fine.
Yeah, kind of. What doesn't Amsterdam do that?
Dens, yeah, they have dens.
Okay.
They have smoke bars here in the U.S. too.
Well, they also have mushrooms you can just buy in stores as well. So I mean,
yeah,
they're living a different life than us. People just could take them for museums. That's like a common thing. Like they eat some mushrooms and they go and look at paintings. I mean,
what's the bottom line for acceptable then? Should children be allowed to drink caffeinated drinks in places that they're legally mandated to go? Like, should caffeine be in school? Like, should we? I think we should. I'm just gonna say my opinion. Caffeine should not be in school. They should be able to bring it in themselves, but they should not be able to purchase it in school.
I could get on board with that. I think.
Yeah.
I get what you're saying. I get where you're coming from because you having it there is like like not forcing it on them, but it's like they're more likely to get addicted to it there because they're there every day.
Well, yeah, if you can't trust a child to make a smart decision with alcohol, you can't trust a child to make a smart decision with caffeinated drinks, and that is essentially. So you're not allowed to advertise in schools in most states and counties, right? You're not allowed to hang flyers or posters or product logos, right? Caffeine's purpose is to be an advertisement, right? It is you take it, you associate it. You now Pavloved yourself into consuming that soda every day.
Right.
So you are now addicted, and so you are being advertised to by your brain. That is much more powerful than a flyer on the wall that says "Drink Coca-Cola." Because if you see that soda machine and you have that association, you're already sold. You're already lost.
Right.
You associate that soda with the good times. And yeah, I mean, honestly, it's just a bad scenario. We're making situations where kids don't really have a choice, have a chance to succeed. Have you ever seen an 8-year-old have a soda breakdown?
I haven't, but I mean, it makes sense. If you go through, I've experienced withdrawal from caffeine. It does make you irritated.
That's it. Imagine going through withdrawal when you don't have the social skills to understand. What that means.
Right.
Like being educated about withdrawal, you can go, "Oh, I'm going through withdrawal right now."
That goes back to what I said earlier about educating people on these substances instead of trying. Like.
Well, obviously, we're not going to educate children on caffeine. That's something that they won't be able to retain that early. We can mention it to them, like every school has those things that you go, all right, today we're going to talk about. That could be like a day thing for elementary school, like the DARE program.
Yeah.
Then escalate to like a week of the school year, and then teach it in health class in middle school and high school.
Mm-hmm.
But that's another good topic. The education system, the redundancy of the education system. Let's put a pin in that one.
Yeah, we could drop that in chat.
Taking a note there, yeah. But, should we care how much money the U.S. makes when we're considering compromising health risks? Like, obviously the moral answer is no. But the logistics answer is a little bit more gray.
Soda not only is causing problems from the caffeine, but it's also the high sugar contents. Diabetes and.
Well, that's it. You're being addicted. Like the caffeine itself is not unhealthy, but what you associate it with is killing you.
Mm-hmm.
And people always go, "Well, caffeine's not that bad," but they always leave out the part where what it's mixed with. Like coffee has additives almost everywhere. Black coffee is actually really. Has a very solid record of health benefits.
I was just gonna say, if you drink a black coffee a day, I think you're good. Like don't worry about it. That's how it's meant to be used.
Well, yeah, even if you drink 5 black coffees a day, it's not as bad as sugar, water, beans.
Yeah.
It's just...
Well, I was also reading something about how even like one beer a day can be good for your heart, or like one shot, like single shot of tequila has like good properties for the bones. You know what I mean? Like all these things can be used if you're using them in moderation. Like not going to the bar every night and getting 5-6 drinks and not drinking any water after.
Yeah.
Yeah, just destroying your body. You know what I mean?
Oh, that's a good question. Should bars be responsible? Should bars get not water down the drinks, but give a glass of water with every drink?
Yeah, I think that should be. It should be practiced to drink safely.
I just realized, like, how come that's not a thing? Like,
that's a whole topic on itself. You know what I mean? Like, are bars responsible for the people in them? Like letting people get that out of control and like out like.
we do have a topic that I've been working on. That for the viewers, you should be able to catch sometime down the line, called social responsibility. If you're interested in that, we'll definitely be tackling the subject of bartenders, and even some of the topics we talked about today, educators, advertisers, and and like our personal selves, how our personal responsibility affects society as a whole. So definitely something to look forward to in another episode. Subscribe if you're interested in this one or things like that. Not going to do like a huge shameless plug, but I'll tell you where to find us. We're on YouTube at Warlord Adventures. If you want to come engage with us, ask us questions, talk about things during our streams, we try to do them in the morning every day.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, if folks want to come and talk to us, that'd be the time to do it.
I also want to shamelessly plug the Spotify as well.
Right.
If you're
So
not
I know
listening
most
on
of y'all
there.
are probably listening to us on Spotify, but for those of you on YouTube, know that we are WLRD, The Buzz. I do keep the link in the description, so just... I know that's better listening for some people.
Oh, Spotify's the best for that kind of stuff, honestly. Convenient.
Absolutely. But I want to give people the resources they can use that are essentially nonpartisan for what we've been talking about today.
Mhm.
A very strong, solid resource that, as far as I'm concerned, is healthline.com. They have a lot of information on the effects of caffeine on the body. NCAUSA.org. They're the National Coffee Association, but they're very good at giving unbiased information despite having coffee in their name. Like, they'll tell you the impact of it, including on the coffee industry. If you just go to their website and look up economic impact, they're very transparent. So, summary. What are we doing here? We're taking caffeine out of schools. What do we replace it with? Black coffee? I think we have a stigma that coffee is an adult drink, but I think black coffee in schools would be acceptable.
Is there any testing on the effects of drinking coffee at a young age? I always heard the thing that it'll stunt your growth. And that's why it's only for adults. And I know those are kind of things that your parents just say, to deter you from certain things.
Well, no, it's a bitter taste, and bitter is considered bitter is considered an adult taste.
Mm-hmm.
But now we have Starbucks and stuff where it's considered a feminine thing to do, to go drink coffee with your mom. It's almost like a rite of passage for women, and that's another thing, another topic, masculine and feminine energy. But we need to have a woman join us for that one. But
yes, we don't want to be those guys.
Yeah, it's definitely a thing. But honestly, drinking black coffee lowers your risk for heart disease. That's actual research. Time had a really good article about it. That coffee benefits your heart. But it's what you add to it that just destroys all of that. If you add sugar to your coffee, if you add cream to it, you're basically increasing your chances for obesity. Drink it after waking up. Don't drink it before going to bed.
And don't drink too much of it. Regulate yourself,
Yeah, I encourage my young viewers. I want young viewers to watch the channel and become educated. I want this to be something that you internalize and helps you grow as a listener. And the same for my adult viewers who might not have known this. I think that everyone has something to take away from educating yourself. But don't be afraid to ask questions either. You, as a young person, should walk up to your science teacher and just ask the question, what are the dangers of coffee consumption? And they might make that an entire day's lesson. They might say, actually, I'm glad you asked that question. Would you all want to talk about this? So many teachers are just so happy when students ask questions, because that shows a drive to learn, and that's what teachers are there for, to educate.
They took the job for a reason.
Right. I know that a lot of people associate teachers as the enemy or uncool or authority figures, but the teachers are not really an authority figure. They are put in place by an authority figure, and they're there to help you. Your well-being is their primary objective. Your school counselors are very helpful. If you feel like you have an addiction to caffeine, talk to your counselor about it. Talk to your teachers about it. Same with anything. If you feel like you're having, if you're consuming marijuana and you are concerned about the health risks of it, talk to your counselor about it. Yes, that could have negative repercussions because of the illegality of it. But if you identify you have a problem with something, they will get you help.
100%.
And we should definitely encourage people who identify problems with themselves seeking help for everything. I know we mentioned that in another video, that we have some things that are stigmatized so strongly and so culturally that there's no option for people who identify they have that issue to receive help. But don't fall for that trap. Go out, get what you need before you create a problem. But I think that's a good point to wrap this up, unless you have anything to add, Coders.
No, I like how 2 episodes in a row now we're ending with just educate yourself. I think that's always one of the main takeaways. Try to just learn something. Before, especially if you're thinking about trying things. I know when you're younger, it's the exploration time. If you want to try marijuana, learn about it first. Learn about the good and bad, not just how it's a fun thing. How it can affect you in different ways. It's always good.
Right. So, everyone, have a lovely day. Have a wonderful Sunday. If you're driving, be safe. If you're at home, be safe. And we will catch you tomorrow, I guess, around the same time.
Oh, yeah.
But yeah, as always, stay well, stay educated, stay entertained. This has been Solember and Coders 178 with WLRD The Buzz.
Goodbye.
I lost it with that goodbye. I'm not going to lie.